So this is going to be an interesting one because I really do like the Mstick by M-Gears. And the fact that it's one of the least expensive Android powered car adapters out there really helps to fuel my feels for this device. But, and this is a big old but, it has its flaws. And for some individuals, said flaws could be a deal breaker having you look elsewhere. Now, before I get into the flaws, I want to talk about what makes this so great. And what makes this a good buy is it's the essentials. It does the essentials very well, and that's what makes this a good buy at its price point. Performance is fine. It's not something that'll blow you away, but it gets the job done without much frustration. Now, I will say, if it's been a while since you used the Mstick, when you first plug it up and get it connected to the internet, it's gonna be a little sluggish. It's connected to the internet, and then it starts pulling in all these notifications from Twitch, from YouTube, from all the apps you have on the device, pulls them all in, and it gets really sluggish. It does slow down. But after that, performance goes back to what you're used to. But where this adapter shines, and I mean it really excels, is using this for its intended purpose of watching videos on the screen of your car. It doesn't matter. YouTube TV, YouTube, Netflix, Twitch, Prime Video, Philo, Paramount Plus, all of these apps work beautifully. They don't have any scaling issues besides one, and I'll get to that in just a second. Previous adapters, they all have an issue where this looks too small, that looks too small, you can't click on this. It hinders the experience, but with this adapter, that doesn't exist, and that doesn't exist because there's a tablet mode. Doing so makes all these apps appear in their tablet modes, and it works flawlessly for everything besides YouTube TV. On YouTube TV, it gets cut off just a little bit. As you can see on the screen here, this portion to make it full screen gets kind of cut off, and the three dots don't exist on this part of the screen. If I click it to make it full screen, you can still click it and access it. It's kind of difficult to hit, but once you do, you then have the three dots in the top right corner where you can change quality and things like that. That's the only issue with this. And even the biggest offender of scaling issues, Apple Music, my previous devices, terrible. It works beautifully on this. And that's why I say I really like the Mstick. It's because the intended purpose of watching videos, this works wonderfully. Besides HBO Max. HBO Max just doesn't work. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's the adapter's fault or if it's HBO Max's fault just not really being compatible with a device like this. But audio doesn't play when you click on any video. Everything else works. It shows up, it scales well, you can click on stuff, but when you actually play a video, there's no audio that comes through. Now, I will keep updating the Mstick itself and updating the HBO Max app, and if that changes, I'll let you know in the comments section below. Now, I want to jump away from HBO Max and talk about YouTube Music and Apple Music, but YouTube Music first. Now, YouTube Music works well, it scales perfectly fine, and in tablet mode you get a view of what's on the left side, your current playing song, and on the right side of the screen you actually get a list of songs you can scroll through and just click on the next song to play. I really like this. I think this comes in handy. It's such a good feature. I love that about the tablet version of YouTube Music, and that is here with this device. Now, Apple Music's tablet version on Android sucks. It's based on an outdated version of Apple Music that was, on the previous iPads way back then, but it scales well on here. So navigation apps is slightly complicated. Now they work well. They work the way you want them to. You open up the app, you put in where you need to go. Everything works the way you would expect it to. Using turn-by-turn navigation with the voice on the navigation app will lower the music volume, and then the voice comes out. Everything's crystal clear. There's no issues with that. There's an issue though when using the car's GPS. Now, this Mstick doesn't have a problem connecting to the car's GPS. The problem is that it's laggy. It lags behind. So if you really rely on that voice turn-by-turn instruction, you might want to really pay attention to the screen in your car because it's laggy, at least in my car, which is a 2016 Ford Focus ST. And I'll show you some video just to show you it is slightly lagged.
Turn right on Evans to Lots Road. Turn right on Evans to Lots Road.
Already passed it, it still hasn't changed. Now the cool thing is that the Mstick does come with a GPS module. The back of the Mstick has a USB port. You plug in that GPS module in the back of that USB port and it works. And using navigation apps in this way, there is no lag whatsoever. Now, at the beginning of this video, I mentioned flaws, and let's talk about some of the flaws. And I guess a better word for flaws would be omissions. This does not have 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. This does not have access to 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. So if you're using your iPhone to broadcast hotspot, you're going to want to click on that maximize compatibility option in the hotspot setting. This will then dumb down the hotspot to 2.4 gigahertz, and you're good to go. Also, the Mstick does not have support for wireless Apple CarPlay, nor does it have support for wireless Android Auto. Now, the biggest omission is that the Mstick does not have Bluetooth support. It has this weird Bluetooth support where it'll read the incoming calls, but it doesn't accept the incoming calls. It's very odd and interesting. Now, the experience in my car connecting the phone to the Bluetooth and the whole Bluetooth experience is very odd and cumbersome. But for you, that might not be the case. So that brings me to the conclusion, and the conclusion is you're buying this because you want videos on the screen of your car, and hopefully you're doing this legally in park and not while driving. For that purpose, this is a great device. It's inexpensive. It does exactly what you want it to do for cheaper than a lot of the other products out there. However, if you want to use this as a replacement for an Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, I would say look elsewhere, and that's simply because of that weird omission of Bluetooth. But if Bluetooth itself isn't an issue, and you're buying this with the intent to watch videos on the screen in your car, then this is a major go.